Here's what's trending now on CBS Sports HQ. And big news out of college football Monday morning, where Georgia star Brock Bowers set to undergo ankle surgery today. Now, the school announcing the All-American tight end expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Now, Bowers leads the Bulldogs in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns this season. Georgia, 5 games left on their regular season schedule, includes a date with the Gators in Jacksonville next Saturday, and 3 ranked opponents in Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Now, Bowers has been a big chunk of the Dogs' offensive production. He leads the team in catches, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. He is one of the best to wear a UGA uniform, currently 5th in most career receiving yards. All right, let's go more on the impact of this injury from our HQ injury analyst, Marty Jaramillo, who joins us now. Marty, just start by walking us through this procedure that Bowers is undergoing.
Absolutely. I know this procedure well. It's revolutionary. Here's the issue. He just got diagnosed yesterday, and surgery was already recommended. Not usually the case with any type of ankle sprain. That said, the Southeast Conference has had this procedure done at many players over the years, including Tua Tagovailoa, who had it in each ankle. This is also known as the tightrope procedure, but the nickname is the orthopedic zip tie. As you see on the replay, 2 holes are drilled between the tibia and the fibula, and then they insert very thick suture material in both of those holes and zip tie it to stabilize those 2 bones. And that does 2 things. Number one, by bringing the 2 bones inwards, it actually stabilizes the ligament that was torn in the first place. So what we love about this is that now 4 weeks later, the original ligament that was torn is healed, and now you have a secondary ligament being that suture material. Tua came back in less than 4 weeks for the national championship when he was in school. This procedure was perfected by the Andrews Sports Medicine Institute, but it's very kind of isolated to the Southeast Conference and the Andrews Sports Medicine Center in Birmingham, Alabama. That said, Cooper Kupp had it last year with Dr. Neil Elatrash, who recently, as you know, did Aaron Rodgers' Achilles repair.
And we know how that's going for Aaron Rodgers so far. We're going to talk about that. We've been talking about that on HQ. Marty, I mean, the timeline then, so you said, I mean, Tua came back after 3 weeks to play in a national championship game, but the timeline here that Georgia's put out is 4 to 6 weeks for Bowers. So that timeline seems like it's a pretty good timeline, very optimistic at this point.
100%. 4 to 6 weeks is our standard timeline for this type of procedure. That said, it heals beautifully because there's nothing being repaired. We're just adding stabilizing suture material to protect that area and actually almost accelerate healing. I would not be surprised if he's ready to go for the SEC championship.
All right. So when you take a look at Georgia's schedule, I mean, certainly, you know, off to that perfect start. And, of course, there have been questions over the last few weeks about whether or not they indeed are the #1 team. But they're #1 until somebody knocks them off and says they're doesn't. As mentioned, the next game they have coming up on the 28th, they've got the bye week this week. They are taking on Florida. That game, our SEC game of the week on CBS. All right, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Let's talk about the Jets quarterback who gave us a little bit of a viral moment yesterday when he was out on the field throwing the ball around without any kind of crutches or assistance. So obviously the Achilles injury is healing very well. How far ahead of schedule is he, Marty?
Well, I think there was an alien sighting at MetLife Stadium. His name is Aaron Rodgers. No crutches, no boot, minimal limp, and throwing the rock around. Really? Just on replay alone, I've been doing this a long time. It looks like he's at week 12. He's not even at 5 weeks. So if we fast forward to, let's say he gets to 3 months, 4 months, which is week 15, week 16, right? Guess what? He's technically would be at month 9 to month 12 in traditional healing. So yes, there's an absolute possibility he gets there. Am I concerned? Sure. The entire medical community is concerned. There's a medical timeline and there's an Aaron Rodgers timeline. But I'm okay, you know, being proven wrong. I'm okay with rooting for him because he is fighting back Father Time with science. This procedure that he had, the speed bridge procedure, is a specialized anchoring technique that allows him to put weight on it sooner, stabilize that repair, prevent it from stretching sooner, and range of motion sooner. So it's exponential how fast he's recovering. I'm okay to jump on this bandwagon.
So, Marty, I mean, when you're talking about, like week 15, are you talking about week 15 of recovery or week 15 of the season?
Week 15 of the season would be approximately 4 months after surgery.
Wow, okay. So, well, week 15, I mean, they've got the Dolphins in a game you'll be able to see on CBS. Wow, that would be a remarkable return for Aaron Rodgers.
Remarkable.
Yeah, and the Jets sitting at 3-3. I mean, there is optimism that maybe this team can stay in the fight and perhaps stay in the fight for a wild card spot and perhaps even get Aaron Rodgers back before the end of the season.
Fully biased. Lifelong Jet fan.
Yeah, we know you've got the bias there, Marty. We know that. All right, the Chicago quarterback Justin Fields has a dislocated thumb, so he is listed as doubtful for their next game this week. Marty, before I get your thoughts on this, let's hear from his head coach, Matt Eberflus, who gave us an update today.
So, as I said yesterday, Justin Fields dislocated his thumb. X-rays were negative. We did the MRI today. There's no timetable right now, and he's going to. It's really going to come down to grip strength, and natural swelling that occurs with this injury. So we should know more at the end of the week. Is he going to play this week? Looks to be doubtful right now for that, but again, we'll see at the end of the week, and we'll be able to make that known at the end of the week. So that's where it is with that.
All right, so they get the Las Vegas Raiders at Soldier Field this week. The Raiders have their own QB issues that they're dealing with Jimmy Garoppolo. But, Marty, I wanted to ask you, is that the biggest issue facing Justin Fields at this point with the dislocated thumb, what Matt was talking about there in terms of the swelling and not being able to grip the ball?
Well, there's two major concerns. Number one, it is his throwing hand. And number two, he's my starting quarterback for fantasy. But seriously, there's a main ligament on the inside of the thumb called the UCL. Very similar mechanism of injury that Dak Prescott had last year. So the scans will dictate the extent of that tear, that type of stretching, because it is impossible to dislocate your thumb without at least partially tearing that ligament. The ligament is very strong, but extremely painful when it is stretched beyond its limits. So yes, it is grip strength. Best case here is with proper stabilization, taping, and minimal pain with gripping, he might be able to play this week, right? Worst case is the tear is actually larger than we expected, and he will need to have a repair. He would have a surgical procedure, and he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, and that would be just devastating for Chicago fans based on what we saw from the rookie backup yesterday. All right, one last QB to discuss, and that is Jacksonville Jaguars QB Trevor Lawrence. He has a bit of a knee injury. We also got an update from his head coach, Doug Peterson, today. Take a listen to this.
Trevor and Brandon are both day-to-day. Both are feeling better today. They're sore, obviously, but they're day-to-day. You'd have to talk to Ferg. Yeah, that's out of my
But he
realm.
can tell you strained ligaments or anything like that, or bone bruise or what?
Yeah, that's out of my jurisdiction.
Is there a sense that he may not play Thursday?
He's day-to-day.
Yeah, they've got the short week because they've got the Thursday night game this week. So, Marty, what's your level of concern when it comes to Trevor Lawrence playing in their next game?
But I truly believe he dodged a bullet here. On replay, the knee was not very awkward, not a lot of torque as he landed, but he did grab it. So definitely some amount of sprain, stretching of tissue, stretching of capsule, stretching of ligament. But to get a day-to-day designation the day after a game, fantastic news coming out of there. Now, what's the concern here? Pain and swelling set in day 2, day 3, and it's a short turnaround week. So I would not be surprised if he's rested on Thursday, but I do know the athletic training staff will be working overtime, 2, 3 treatments a day, just to give him a chance to play on Thursday. But right now, all signs are pointing to that. No major stabilizing ligaments were involved, including the ACL.
3 straight wins for the Jags. They have the Saints this week on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, a sign that San Francisco 49ers fans didn't want to see, certainly, was Christian McCaffrey coming off. He has an oblique strain as they lost also Deebo Samuel yesterday. But let's talk about McCaffrey because obviously he's one of the main facets of that offense that makes things go. When it comes to an oblique strain like that, Marty, what are some of the obstacles that McCaffrey's facing in terms of being able to play and not having to sit?
Sure. I mean, that was all the talk at my dinner table last night. My boys wanted to know, Christian McCaffrey, oh my God, is he going to play next week? Very, very painful injury. The oblique muscles on the side of the core, right? They are involved with rotation of the torso. Very painful. Even minor injuries are painful. Here's the issue. You know, we had Jalen Waddle and Nakua, please, that also had the same injury and was able to play through it. But at the running back position, it's actually very hard to play because when they tuck that ball in, they tuck it into that core, contracting those oblique muscles, turning on a dime, as well as changing direction on a dime. So I would not be surprised if the 49ers do rest him for the following week, just to give him a chance to heal because it's such a painful injury. Even a deep breath takes a lot out of you with an oblique strain, but it heals perfectly. Pain management is everything. I am hopeful for week 7, but I would not be surprised if he takes a week off.
Well, fantasy managers are certainly hopeful. The good news is they get the extended break. We're not going to know his true injury status until Thursday because of the fact that they play Monday Night Football versus the Vikings. CBS Sports HQ injury analyst Marty Jaramillo here discussing college and NFL injuries. Still one more game tonight, but we're already looking ahead to week 7 in the NFL. We have 3 games for you in the early window, including what once was an attractive AFC East battle between the Patriots and Bills in Foxborough. Late window, though, great game. Chargers and the Chiefs from Arrowhead. Check your local listings, and of course, you can stream the NFL via Paramount Plus.